Hello everyone, welcome to another little side story where our very own Garius
Hello.
And Midnight will answer the summons of Cthulhu. Garius is currently in his office, while...
In my office on board my command ship.
Yep, aboard his command ship, with Miss Midnight, who is, as you might remember, the character we formerly referred to as Snow. And Midnight is on her way to said office. So, take it away, Garius.
So I imagine Miss Midnight's already entered the room?
She is in the room with you. You are behind your desk. She is standing at attention in front of the desk. And as a few of you might remember, the distinguishing feature between our Midnight and Miss Midnight is that, first of all, she wears a white uniform. And second of all, she only has one ear left.
Oh, I forgot about that.
She lost her left ear.
Healed.
The wound was healed, but the ear did not regrow. She's not one of the 5. She's mortal.
Anyway, I'd motion for her to sit. Please, at ease.
To which she sits down on her haunches.
The reason I called you here was twofold. I'm about to have my first meeting with the Council of Light. I do believe you've had some meetings with them in the past. Is there anything you can tell me about them? Any advice you could give?
Be very, very careful and never turn your back.
I didn't intend on doing so.
The council chambers are a dangerous place. It might not be apparent, but there are automated turrets in each and every one of the walls.
I see.
The seats the council members occupy are protected by very strong magical and technological shields, shielding them against almost any kind of attack. Most of the council members who you might speak to are not even physically present, but speak through miniature portals. Also, there are always at least 4 specters present.
Spectres?
Special operations. They are there to subdue unruly visitors.
I see. That's. I'll certainly keep all of that in mind, but I didn't come there to start trouble. Thank goodness. But I would like to say this, though, is that if things go south, I'm putting you in charge of the Kingdom of Light operations in this universe. If something were to happen to me, you are in charge.
Understood.
The appropriate forms.
Understood.
And, yeah.
She salutes you.
So, please, there's no need to salute me. He kind of sighs.
She puts a paw into a pocket of her uniform and tosses something to you.
Catches it.
It's a small copper-looking coin with an engraving of Celestia on one side and of Luna on the other.
I look to her. What's this?
This, sir, might be your only way back if things go south.
Thank you.
What is?
And, yeah.
Let me explain, sir. These are special coins handed out by the Council of Light. If they do not choose to send one of their liaisons to your universe, they send you back to the universe that you came from. Because the council chambers exist in a space in between universes.
Can I ask a question?
I-
I'll ask later. Never mind. Sorry, go ahead. I just got confused a second. Go on. Just tell me when to knock.
Thank you for this. I'll make sure that Midnight gets this, as she's a bit more important to this war effort than I am. But if for whatever reason I don't make it back, I just want to let you know that getting to know you has been one of the greatest pleasures of my career, and that I know you'll do well if I don't return.
I appreciate your trust, and it has been an honor working with you.
Yep. And
Knocks.
it seems the guest of honor has arrived. I will let you return to things, but
I will take my leave then. I will send you the report on the supply situation this evening.
No need. I'm sure you have things well in hand, and I bid you goodbye, either for now or indefinitely, depending on my fate.
She nods and walks towards the door.
Opens the door?
Sort
Can I?
out the papers on my desk. I imagine you walk in when Miss Midnight leaves.
Yeah, but first, Miss Midnight! Hey!
She nods to you in greeting.
Before we go, before you go, that's the word. Hugs her.
She stiffens. Also,
I know
I need you to roll Brawl.
Oh, pony feathers.
Isn't that one of her weaker stats?
Seriously? Yeah, that's the problem.
As your paws close behind her neck, you feel her bite your neck, one of her paws going under your chest, turning you around on your back, and pinning you to the ground with one of her paws on your chest.
Dude, I was just being nice and trying to say that despite the differences we've had, you're awesome.
She kind of blinks. Sorry. Reflex.
It's alright. Can I get up, please?
Sure. She moves away from you.
Is just watching this, raising an eyebrow.
Gets up. But, stretching slightly. Well, hopefully we'll see you soon.
She nods to you again. Was there anything else?
Nope.
Good. By the way, I have sent a few requisition forms to your office. I hope you will be able to review them in due time.
Along with everything else, certainly. I'll make sure to take a look at those.
Thank you. And she walks off.
And I walk into Garius' room.
And just out of character here, considering that her intended role on the ship is basically just my secretary, she does an awful lot of work. She's practically a glorified secretary, and yet she's running the ship as if she's actually like a second in command, because I already have a captain, an admiral, and myself, which means we have the chain of command completely finished. She's basically there for everything that should have gone to my desk, but I don't actually need to handle. So everything that needs to be signed by a higher command structure, but doesn't really need to be signed by me, that's what she's there for. She takes her job very seriously.
Very, very seriously.
Well, the requisition forms that she sent to Midnight, for example, are for replacement parts for the ship, for replacement crew, since you lost a few people in the last op, for weapons.
Why would they be sent to Midnight? They'd have been sent back to my universe, and my ship, due to its infrared data technology, it self-repairs all by itself. It doesn't need replacement parts. That's the beauty of Infirotech.
She wants replacement parts on board for on-the-fly repairs, in case those systems, even though they might have redundancies, fail.
Oh.
Also, she is of the opinion that having a few Lupine Arcane soldiers on board might not be such a bad idea if the ship is ever boarded.
That's why he wants changelings on board, because you're not going to be boarding a ship that has a contingent of changelings on board, because that's just asking for it. Because think about it, if you can train them to turn into aliens from Alien vs. Predator, as they're boarding your ship, tails will come out of the vents and just penetrate them in uncomfortable angles, and they just get grabbed or eaten or clawed to pieces.
They will
or
turn
them into giant.
They will turn into the unstoppable butt stabber.
Anyway, Midnight walks over to Garius. Hey, so I think we have a lot to talk about before we go.
I nod, and I move over to the other side of my office where there is a couch, and I motion for you to sit down. By all means, get comfortable then.
Walks over. Well.
And you know, like those couches you have in like the corner of the room, they're like at a right angle?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I sit on like one side, and if you sit on the other, we can basically look at each other, but
yeah, that makes sense.
this is usually where he ends up sleeping at night.
Of course. Looks at him, Garius. So, do you mind if we, like, soundproof this room? Your magic seems better than mine. Do you mind?
The thing is, his office has a permanent silence enchantment, considering what important things go on in here, but he can cast another one if it makes you feel comfortable.
Oh, Midnight doesn't know that, so you should just tell her.
He just says, this is my primary command room, where a lot of my deepest, darkest secrets are stashed. So there are enchantments that should prevent sound from leaving this room.
Good, because we know
And
we don't.
if anyone tries to spy on this room, the alarms will automatically sound. So.
Oh, good. We don't want.
This was designed with facing other members of the Five in mind.
Huh.
So. It's
Makes
designed to prevent scrying as well. So.
Okay. Well. Where to start?
From the beginning, that's always the best place.
Well, I do not trust at all the light at all. Something's not right about them. And if what Mid, oh, by the way, that's what I'm calling Barbara now. I'm calling her Mid, because if they ask where Barbara is, I don't know. Anyway,
He grins at that. Very clever.
Well, sort of works. Plus, she really did not like that name. She told me quite a few things. Cthulhu, for example, is incredibly powerful. She's actually the one that founded the light. And what she's actually after is revenge.
If I may bring one thing to your attention, because she founded the Council of Light, and if what your various reports and the reports of your crew suggest is that she's willing to sacrifice Council of Light at any turn. Because if you remember back to our first battle where we met, the back of your ship entered into a portal where you encountered a deity identified as Cthulhu. Could this potentially be the same entity, or an alternate version of her? If that is so, she'd either let an alternate version of herself run amok amongst her and her allies, or she attacked us during that battle and her own council troops. For what purpose, I don't know. Maybe she's against our alliance, or maybe she was trying to forcibly grab information. But if that was her, she's attacked us once before, and so I do not trust her as far as I can throw her. And if what you said in the last briefing was of any indication, she's too powerful for all of us combined to defeat. But she is an obstacle that needs to be tackled one way or another.
Agreed. I would like to try and keep the Council of Light on some goodish terms with us, so that we don't have to fight, but I do have a backup plan. Problem is, it's most likely to go to my backup plan because, well, I'm no good at talking. If my last encounters or anything, I don't know how to negotiate that well.
I smile and place my hand on your shoulder. That's where I come in. I am a seasoned veteran when it comes to political hard points. So at the very least, I can keep things civil and keep the fire away from you. I hand you the copper coin that was given to me by Miss Midnight. Miss Midnight gave me this. It's apparently an emergency way back. I want you to hold this because in the wider scheme of things, you're more important than I am, apparently.
I would like to argue with that.
Not to mention, you have pups and a husband that need you. I do not have a family at all, so you have more people to return for than I do. My universe will carry on without me. Yours may very well fall apart without you. So please take the coin.
Takes it, but looks up at him. Also, we kind of need to return to my universe and rather than yours. That's the only reason why I'm taking this. If we have to scarper quickly, we have to return to mine, not yours. Because if my plan is going to work, I need you, your man, and quite a few other people.
Well, my men will always stand ready. So tell us what you need to do and we will fulfill any orders. In fact, I typed something on my wrist computer, and I imagine you have a computer device on you?
No, she doesn't.
Or you completely... Doesn't she?
I don't have any tech.
I walk over to my desk and hold out essentially a smartphone, except a sci-fi version.
The only thing
and I give this to you.
The only thing that Midnight has on her in terms of technology is a wristband on her left wrist, where there are only 3 LEDs on there, and the one that is currently lit up is a green color.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
He hands you the phone and goes, and if I may make a suggestion, phones are quite useful. Technological devices are quite handy to have. I recommend you carry one on your person. This is connected to my ship and has all of the authorization you will need to command my troops if I do not return. That should smooth the process down because, as we're from different universes, you technically have no authority over myself or my men. That should give you the authority temporarily.
Thank you. You know, you bring up a point. You are helping us, even though we don't exactly have a treaty or any sort of thing.
Let's call it mutual need, among other things. I have a liking towards you. You're a good person, and we fight the same enemy. So it would be idiotic for me to get in your way or not assist you.
True.
It would be nice to have a written down treaty, but I think that can wait.
At least for now.
And at this point, Garius, your wrist computer starts ringing like a phone.
I tap the affirmative on it.
A small hologram screen appears, and on the other end you see Lupina.
Greetings, Lupina. What may I help you with?
Actually, I was thinking I might be able to help you, Garius.
Go on.
I was thinking recently, and I see that you do have a lot of your forces in our universe.
I have a strike force in your universe. Most of my army is still fighting my fifth. A good 99.999999% of my forces of my reserves are still in my universe. I've only been sending light troops because if my universe is under attack, I can't count on the Council of Light to jump to my aid as they did for yours. So most of my reserves are staying behind.
I have an offer to make to you.
Go ahead. I'd be willing to hear it.
I have been talking with Snow, or Miss Midnight as we are currently calling her, and apparently your men view us Lupine Arcane as demigods.
Well, yeah. Compared to a mortal human that has no magical ability whatsoever, your mastery of magic is somewhat frightening. Your potential is far greater than theirs. Their only advantage is essentially the fact that being a humanoid in shape, there are certain areas where they might have an advantage, but they don't have magic, so they have to rely on technology, even to stand a hope in hell's chance.
She puts on a pair of glasses and pulls up a few papers on a clipboard. Garius, what I wanted to offer you is this. I have 2 battalions of power-armored wolves at the ready if you want them to assist your forces in your universe.
That would be beyond invaluable. What would you ask for in return for this help?
Nothing. You have helped us here quite a bit. Consider it a gesture of goodwill.
Then thank you. I'll have them sent to Joseph immediately. He's my world's version of you, actually, and he basically travels up and down the front lines, repelling breaches in our lines. So if they're willing to be a bit mobile, then that would be incredible.
With these power armors, they are able to move for about a week without a lot of rest.
Then thank you. I cannot put into words how much my men would appreciate that.
You are more than welcome. I will have them sent to your ship within the week.
Thank you. I'll be sure to open a portal to allow them through. Just let me know when you need that done, or at the very least, Miss Knight should have the authority to open a portal from my side. authorize a portal to be opened if I do not return from the Council of Light.
Understood. Now, if you'll excuse me, there is another matter that I have to attend to.
Of course, and if I may, it's been an absolute pleasure if I do not return, because if what Midnight told me about Cthulhu is correct, we're in for it. So it's been an honor if I don't return.
Right back at ya. And then she
So
kind of
anyway.
bares her fangs. And just let her try. Lupina out.
Midnight smirks. Yep, that's Lupina for you. I kind of wish Cthulhu was more like her.
I would be more afraid of it if she was like Lupina personally. But
She is a version of Lupina.
I know, but the amount of times she's teleported people, of course, I can only imagine what would happen if she was far more powerful, how far out she'd teleport people with that additional strength behind it.
Admittedly, it has been a bit off recently, yes. Not exactly sure why the dice does that, but yeah.
Instead of teleporting people a few miles out, we might have a few light years out if she was any more powerful.
Well, we are planning to grow a bit stronger.
Yes, well, let's hope that doesn't make us into a target for the Overmother, but there's one thing I would like to say about my plans.
Go for
I'm
it.
contemplating us arranging an alliance with the Overfather, as I think he has the best idea in regards to winning this war. Doing nothing seems like the best philosophy we could take on board. As if we can basically win wars via diplomacy and essentially do nothing, well, fighting the Overmother might not prove effective as she's way more powerful than us, but if we can convince others to do nothing, end the fight by diplomacy, if no one picks up their weapons, then there's no battle and no need for power. And if we can rely on his protection and those he's absorbed, well, I'm sure many of those who are a part of him haven't given up fully, and I have reason to believe that the Overfather hasn't given up himself. So if we can ally with him at some point, he might be able to keep, or at least some of those under his command, might be able to keep Cthulhu off our backs. That was one thing I was considering.
Possibly he could keep Cthulhu off our backs.
Nothing would be needed by his part. He could do nothing and have those who were a part of him do all the work for him. So he doesn't have to get involved, nor does he have to put himself in harm's way. And he can allow those who want to resist within him to resist.
I have met at least a few of them, and they don't want to fight.
But I don't know.
I can tell you now, they've given up. They have. I would agree that there's something, maybe. I mean, he is pretty powerful.
I look to my gauntlet. Why would he give me a means to fight, a means to continue this war after I insulted him? I mean, I mocked him saying he was useless, and instead of smiting me where I stood, he gave me the ability to fight harder, to give me more of a chance to win this war, so I have a reason to believe that while he is scared or while he is hesitant to join this war, there is a will within him. It's just very well hidden.
I'm not denying that. However, I mean, think about it. He created this world to throw the whole thing into a bit of whack. But I don't think doing nothing is going to do it. I actually have a different plan.
I would love to hear it.
We still need to win, either way. Because right now, what is the Fifth's fate? What is meant to happen? What is their destiny? To destroy. to destroy and restart and destroy and restart and destroy and restart. If we became the Overmother, which is supposed to happen, the next Overmother has to be replaced. We can change the fate of the fifth and create a multiverse that is different. Basically, what I'm trying to do now, my fate and Pixie's fate is still to destroy. Eventually. But I don't want that. We can be mediators instead. What I've been trying to do with the 5 since the very beginning, since I came. To keep them together, to keep them working together, to sort out arguments, to teach them to talk to each other for once.
He smirks a bit at this.
If we're able to do that, to win and change the fate of the fifth, we can create a universe that doesn't have this problem. So even if fights do break out, then it won't be as gigantic a problem as this. There won't be a dark and light fight anymore. Yes, there'll be dark universes, of course, that's just part of chance. But there won't be such a big, massive battle anymore. There'll be a universe, a multiverse, in at least some sort of harmony. Doing nothing, I don't think will work. But if we still are able to win, we might be able to change the next round. Change the fates. So that this never has to happen again.
Fates, then.
Hmm?
A duel of fates, then.
More or less. The problem is, the light is controlled by Cthulhu. And from what Mid has told me, they are all terrified to go up against her. Because if you try and do something different or argue with her, she'll strike you down.
And as you say that, a green orb of light appears right in front of the couch, growing into a green and purple gem floating in mid-air.
I look at it a bit startled.
Steps
my hand
back.
glowing slightly.
At least Midnight should know what it is.
Oh my word! It's the Jewel of Fate, isn't it? Just the Thing of Fate.
Mm-hmm.
Goes over to it.
The Gem of Destiny, yes.
Gem of Destiny. That's what I meant. I couldn't remember the name. Sorry. Wait a second. That's the gem. Looks at it curiously. What is it? Do you want to show me something?
It just keeps slowly rotating in mid-air. The light from
my
within
hand's still
pulsing.
glowing. I look confused.
Looks at Garius. It's the Gem of Destiny from scripts from our house. It's almost like an echo of the last dimensions. I'm the only one that seems to be able to interact with it. I'm going to place my paw on it now.
May I try?
Sure.
I placed the gauntlet that the Overfather gave me with my hand on it on the gem. Just to see if anything happens.
Okay. You feel a tremendous pain shoot up your arm, but you cannot pull back. It is as if your hand is glued to the gem, while the light within the gem starts pulsing brighter and brighter and faster, until you see the reality around you swirl away, giving you a vision.
Oh, he can now interact with it too?
Everyone can interact with it if they can stand what they see.
Okay. Can I place my paw on it now?
Not while he's interacting with it.
Considering the size of my hand, I'm surprised if you could see the gem.
No, it's a ginormous
massive
gem.
power armored gauntlet.
That gem is as big as you.
Oh, okay then. I thought it was just like a tiny gem, I was literally like, it was in my fist.
It's a gem that is almost 2 meters tall.
Oh, okay.
Diamond cut. And the vision that it gives you is of a dark room that has only one single spot of light in the middle. Then your vision changes and you see like a little contraption, like a old school torture device. You know those stretching bank thingies?
Yeah,
where...
a stretching rack.
Yeah. And you see one of those, but made out of steel, standing upright. And on it is Barbara, mid, with patches of fur missing, bleeding. That vision again fades. And you see Cthulhu standing over the dead bodies of the pups. And then, with a magical jolt, you are thrown back into the upholstery of your sofa.
I just sort of crash into it. And there's a very grim look on my face.
Walks over. What did you see? Don't leave anything out.
Mid was on a stretching rack, bleeding in a pitch black room with a spotlight on her. And the second vision was that of your pups lying dead. I try and stand.
Where is Garius? Okay. So I need you to do a stamina check.
Okay. 20... 15 I rolled.
You managed to get up on shaky legs.
Looks over at the gem.
The pulsing has slowed down again to its normal pace.
Is it a warning?
I believe, if I'm reading this correctly, it's showing me what it believes is a future. Maybe the future of if we fail. Or it could be the future, but since the future is not set in stone, I don't believe it is a set future. But maybe it's trying to test me, or maybe it's showing me, what would happen if we fail. I would have to think on this some more.
As of your question, if it is a warning, you do not receive a direct answer from the gem, but as before, when you interacted with it, both of you, this time, hear agonized screaming from the gem that seems to be coming out of 1 billion throats.
puts my ears down.
Covers my ears.
Yeah, that happens a lot.
The gem then in a flash of light disappears again.
Damn it, I wish they would all just tell me, rather than screaming. I don't understand
If
this
they're in
warning.
great pain, they might not have a choice.
I know.
If I'm being completely honest, I don't think those screams have much of a choice in anything they do. I think there's a will behind those voices, personally. I mean, if they are so unorganized and so in pain as those voices sounded, I don't think they're coherent enough to come up with a plan or choose who's worthy or not. Or if they would even have the cognitive abilities to actually move the gem. I think someone in that, someone's controlling that gem, someone who has their faculties intact. But I don't know anything about the gem, so I don't know. Maybe someone in there is trying to send someone a message, but I'm not sure.
Maybe they're saying if Cthulhu...
Maybe it's the trap from the Overmother. Maybe she controls it, and it's basically her way of fucking with us. But who knows?
I don't think so.
Again,
It's-
just a theory.
Yeah. It's been too kind to me in the past. Well, I think it's warned me many times. And if it's the warning
Build
about
your
that...
trust.
Are you always this suspicious?
Yes! Welcome to Garius, the most suspicious and cautious person in reality. He who makes no attachments with anyone because he knows they're all going to be dead in the end.
Look, Garius. From what I understand and from what it has shown, which is all we can really entrust on, is that it is from the previous universe. It is the remnants of that, possibly made by the past script so that some warning would go to the next. It's the reason why script was the only one that could, well, sort of interact with it.
Not really interact. He always just going meta here, just so that the story stays in line.
Yeah.
Script was its designated keeper because no one else could.
Okay. That's why script was its designated keeper. No one else really could. And then, out of the blue, it starts interacting with me.
Well, aren't you special?
People keep saying that, but I find it hard to believe. But...
Same here, but there is a spark
Excuse me, what? You're not meant to believe that. Sorry, that was... Never mind. Scratch that. Well, at least one
Well, he's in
person...
complete agreement with you.
Well, at least one person doesn't think I'm amazing.
Well, you are amazing, but I wouldn't say that the universe revolves around you as many would believe. But I do believe that you are an exceptional individual.
True, maybe. Ish. They appeared when we mentioned Cthulhu. And the dream you had was the vision you had was definitely of the council chambers. Black room, one circle. And if she does torture Barbara, well, that wouldn't surprise me. And the pups being dead? Did that have anything to do with Cthulhu?
I don't know.
Yes, you do.
All I know is that Pardon?
You saw Cthulhu standing over the dead pups.
Did I? Sorry.
Yes!
My memory is crap.
Yes, you did.
My attention span is even worse. Oh, okay. He just says, I imagine so. No. What was the question again? Like I said, my memory is the worst.
Did the pups being dead have anything to do with Cthulhu?
I do believe she was there. Though admittedly I was too busy looking at the dead pups to really notice much about the surroundings.
My plan might be the best one.
My apologies if my glimpse wasn't as coherent as I would have liked. I was not expecting it, and thus I was not mentally prepared fully.
It's alright. Nor was I the first time. But
I will endeavour to be more perceptive next time.
Well...
But I think we have kept the council waiting for long enough, unless you have something that you wish to say before we go.
Well, I think my plan might have to come in fruition, and if we don't do it...
Do you want to talk to me now or wait until after? Actually, wait until after, just in case they are, for whatever reason, listening in. But I suggest we go quickly, otherwise they may see the amount of time we're taking as an act of defiance. And if what I've heard is true, they don't take defiance well.
Good point. Shall I call the eavesdropper?
Yep.
Solar flare!
He crawls out from under the sofa.
What?!
You called?
Were you under there the entire time?
I glare at him, intent on hearing his answer.
I must say that, yes, I was down there the entire time.
Okay. Oh, jeez. Oh, flippin' jeez.
Why? I didn't even call you.
My
How
orders.
did he get on my ship without anybody talking to me? I mean...
My orders
How?
are to always stay close to you. And then he looks at Garius and says, Excuse me, sir, but bypassing the security systems on your ship was really no problem. You should fire the one who set the passwords.
Let me guess. Everything you heard is telepathically sent to the light.
Actually, no.
Really?
I have no telepathical link to the Council of Light. That would be a tactical vulnerability.
Agreed there.
Garius is really, really tempted to shove his fist through the guy's head to make sure that he can't spread his secrets. But he knows that if he does so, that would ring alarm bells for the Council of Light. So that's the only thing keeping him from turning his head into mush.
I have a question.
That's literally the only thing.
I have a question. Who created you?
I was created by our dear Mother Cthulhu.
Of course. And let me guess, you have utter, complete loyalty
Looking
to her.
midnight with a I wouldn't look.
Fine, shut up.
Why wouldn't I?
You serve your mistress well.
Yeah.
And I guess that's all that is to be said on the matter. Well,
You wouldn't find that loyalty anywhere else. Anyway. Fuck's sake.
let us be off to the Council of Light then.
Yes.
Her Highness is already awaiting you.
Of course.
I'm sure.
And he places a hoof on the wall of your office, Garius, opening a portal and trotting through.
Follows.
I follow as well. And
You
well,
two
before I
don't sound
I go
very
through the
happy.
portal,
No,
I-
we're not very happy.
But before I go through the portal, I'm just like, say I'm like at the side of the portal, and I just take a deep breath to compose myself. And when I'm looking pretty much just stone-faced and emotionless, that's when I walk through. To show no emotion before the Council of Light at all. Because he knows they can kill him with a look, so fearing death isn't something that will get him anywhere. So he's going to try and be as emotionless as possible, even when threatened, because fear isn't going to help him at all.
Okay.
So he's just building himself up. And then he
Okay.
walks through after midnight.
Okay. As before, Solar Flare stands to the right of the portal. You are in a very small hallway, like it's very short.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of which you see a dark room with a single spotlight in the middle.
Looks at Garius, and then looks back. Calms myself, and motions for us both to walk side by side.
I walk with both my hands behind my back. You know when you have your hands behind your back and you're sort of holding your left wrist with your right hand, kind of?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that's basically how he's walking, very calmly and almost regally as he walks towards the spotlight.
All right. Do both of you step into the light?
I do.
Same.
All right. From the darkness in front of you, two glowing blue orbs appear in the shape of eyes.
Cthulus.
Always a pleasure to meet a version of you. And
Is he talking to me or...
That's what I'm wondering.
who might you be? And she turns
I
her
am
eyes
the
upon
angel.
Garius.
I am the Angel of Fate, and I represent the Kingdom of Light. A pleasure to meet you. I hold out a hand for the, a shake if she wishes to. A pleasure.
She looks at your hand, but no limb forms to take it.
Then I put my hand back where it was before, and simply nod my head.
She addresses you and says, "The Kingdom of Light. Dimension 3887.4. Haven't been
I was
there
not
in a
aware
while.
I had a designation.
Oh, you do. We have cartographed your dimension a while ago."
And how did you find it?
Interesting. But I must also say that the strategies you employ to defeat your fifths might not be very effective.
It's kept him at bay for this long, and we're slowly winning the war. So I say our tactics are at least working well enough. But if you have any advice for me, I would be willing to hear it. But
She...
I-
a white glowing orb of light that seems to be spinning very, very quickly appears in the air in front of you. It is about the size of your fist. The light is
I
actually...
look at it.
1 second. Don't touch it yet.
I haven't touched it. I said I'm looking at it.
Okay. The light of it is actually strong enough to illuminate the darkness around you slightly, to make you see Cthulhu standing there in her mist form.
I imagine I remember this form.
Yes, you do. This is a culmination of raw magical power. Throw it at your fifths and his forces, and you might lose part of your dimension, but your fifths will be history.
I thank you for this generous gift, but my plan is to reclaim the portion of the world that houses my fifth. So, as grateful as I am for the assistance, I will respectfully decline if I do not mean to cause offense.
As you wish. And the orb disappears as if it had never been there. And then she looks at Midnight. Her eyes going half-lidded slightly.
Yes?
Midnight. I seem to remember that the last time you were standing here before me, we were talking about a certain person that I was very interested in finding.
Yes, I do remember.
And you told me that you could not tell me where she is.
I still cannot. She is very slippery, as I remember you saying. She appears one place, disappears, and then you don't know where she's... And I have no way of tracking her, as I suppose you don't.
Then how is it that Solar Flare has informed us that you were hiding her?
Hiding her? May I ask
That
how
would be
he heard that?
factually incorrect.
He may have misunderstood. Eavesdropping can definitely change how you hear things. I.e. through doors. Trust me, I've eavesdropped on my mother a couple of times, and I'd hear one thing and then find out it was something completely different.
She raises one of her misty paws to silence both of you. It doesn't matter.
We aren't hiding her. If I knew where she was, I'd tell you.
A very wide grin appears on her face. Like seriously wide. Showing an awful lot of teeth.
If I may.
Mm-hmm.
It wouldn't matter if we told you when we see her, because the moment she sees us talking to you, she'll teleport away and all of us would be back to square one. So even if we carried a device that could telepathically communicate with you, something that would be quite a security risk for you, even if we did have that immediate communication, she could leave before we got the full message through, and thus we'd all be back to square one. So
she raises her paw again to silence you.
I do so.
As I said, it doesn't really matter. Because I can tell you where she is.
Midnight raises an eyebrow and looks at Garius and back at her. What do you mean? You've managed to capture her?
Lucky coincidence. Lucky coincidence. And she starts pacing around you. You don't actually see her pacing, but you see her eyes moving through the darkness around you.
I just stay facing forward.
Today, you went to another dimension.
Yes.
You attacked that dimension's avatar of war.
Yes.
You defeated and killed him.
Yes.
And one of yours took his power.
Yes.
Stuff like that does not go unnoticed.
We weren't trying to hide it.
I know. But lucky coincidence. 2 more of their avatars came and you fled. When I came to investigate,
You caught someone. Did Barbara go to the same dimension?
I think you already know the answer.
You wouldn't be telling me that if you didn't.
Midnight, don't play games with me. I saw you leave through a portal that she created.
Easiest way out.
And you see a hole in the ground in front of you open up. It's rectangular in shape. I was lucky. And up comes this stretcher thingy. On it, an unconscious Barbara. The chains holding her are glowing with a magical light, and the light seems to be flowing away from her.
Sorry, I'm trying to calm my nerves here. You're draining her.
I'm taking the power that she has stolen, yes.
May I ask you something?
Sure.
What is your goal at the end of this war?
She tilts her head a little. What do you mean?
It is established that whoever side wins the war, the Fits will join together and become the next Overmother. Am I wrong there?
You are factually correct.
What will be the goal of the light? What will the dimensions will you make next? What will you do to stop? What will you do to stop this cycle?
I personally do not see a reason to stop the cycle.
Why is that?
It has worked for eons, and has been repeated more times than we can count. It is
True.
a system that works.
Works for what, exactly?
For the multiverse.
And yet the multiverse is created by the Overmother.
And that creation works. So why should I change it?
Well, how about the torture, the destruction of all the universes that happens during this war? What about the lives that are taken?
The lives that are taken. And she kind of laughs at you a little. The lives are, in the end, meaningless once a universe or multiverse, however you want to call it, is recreated. Those lives will simply bloom again. Who's to say that you are the first you?
Except they're not the same lives. No life is the same as another. The multiverse proves that. Those souls that existed are still gone. Are still destroyed. Many of them going through horror after horror for this war. Just for it to move on, to be recreated for the next one. That means your life is not important on your side. Am I wrong?
My
Or those
life right now is more important than any of the others.
Because you're the most powerful? Because you feel like you are able to do what no one else can?
I will become the next Overmother.
And just create the world again?
Yes.
If I may.
Go ahead.
You say that the system works, but history, I think, would disagree on that regard, because no Overmother has ever created a universe that was permanent. Ultimately, an Overmother creates a universe, and by their own hand it is destroyed, which means it is not a perfect system, as every single system has failed. Repeated failures, if stable failures, do not make a successful end. If one Overmother were to create a universe that was self-sustaining, permanently preventing the need to be replaced, which you inevitably would be at the end of your cycle, even if you become the Overmother, your life would be essentially a temporary one. If longer than most, your life would be temporary. You would fall as we would, as anyone else would in the end. It is not a successful system. It is simply a wash, rinse, repeat, where even you will cease to be a memory. Do we know the Overmother 10 cycles back? Is anything of her still remaining? The Overmother of 100 cycles back, what is known of her? They are never remembered. They are nothing now.
Exactly.
No,
Because the only thing mattering right now is the current Overmother. And if you come to terms with that, then everything is working fine.
Then what about your own dimension? You're so angry at her, points to Barbara, for destroying your own dimension, for being part of it. And yet you don't care about any other lives.
My dimension was special.
Why?
She looks at you, then at Garius. Tell me, both of you command mortals. Does any of you ever think about their lives when they are lost in battle?
Yes.
I do as much as possible.
My dimension, there was no natural death. After a certain point, no one aged. We were gods.
And yet your dimension still fell.
Because of outward interference.
Looks at Barbara. Barbara, how many did you get? Oh wait, she's unconscious, never mind.
Mm-hmm.
Looks at Barbara. Question. What would you do to have them back?
You don't understand. I am currently doing everything to get them back.
And yet you could be destroying some. You could be destroying right now the last living memory that you have of them.
The members of my species would agree with me.
You could ask them.
I have a feeling that we will not come to a consensus here.
Do you know what you're doing right now by draining Barbara?
I am taking her power. I am taking what she is using to destroy worlds. And now, midnight. This audience...
She told me something! She told me something about why she's... told me something about why she's taking power. I do not agree with the way she does it. Not in a million years. But stop draining her power for a second and look inside her. See what she's using all that power for. Not what she's using out here. What she's using in there.
Is it not worth a shot? You lose nothing but maybe a few seconds. I'm sure you're curious, as am I.
Cthulhu looks at the both of you. And she has kind of a thoughtful look on her face. If you can do that on a mist face. And I will need both of you.
Great.
Both of you.
To roll persuasion?
Yeah.
Oh.
Come on.
Oh no. Okay.
13 plus my modifier, which is something. I'll have to go check. My modifier for persuasion is
Damn it.
13. So 13 plus 13, that's 26 I have.
Mm-hmm. And Midnight has... 18 in total.
So that's 44, roughly, I think.
Cthulhu sighs and then looks at the both of you again and says, "If you are wasting my time, you will regret it." But I will humor you. And the glow around the chains that hold Barbara disappears. While Cthulhu is very slowly and deliberately stalking towards Barbara, or Mid. And then something happens. Our dear Mid opens her eyes. And I don't mean slowly, but in a snap.
Inwardly sigh.
She's awake.
Barbara, please. Just Show her her people, please.
Try to be calm. Panicking will not solve anything.
I think we should take a very short break here because I think Midnight is close to breaking down.
You okay, Midnight?
Yeah, just probably not the best time for me to have a RP that's emotional.
Give me a moment. I will stop the recording for now. We will take a 5-minute breather, and then come back to it. Okay?
Yeah.
And, my heart's beating.
But
I'm back.
Welcome back. And Midnight sees like this. Till now, you're both still alive.
Okay, let's continue this.
okay.
You see Barbara struggling against her bonds, throwing a glance at Garius, then at the approaching Cthulhu.
Midnight rolls her eyes. Can't you act like not stalk towards her? Seriously, that's incredibly creepy.
I look towards, Mid or Barbara or whatever, and I just give her a look that's just be patient. I'm here. Kind of just like a comforting kind of look. Or as comforting a look as an emotionless angel of destiny can possibly be.
And Midnight gives her a look of, we're trying to get you out of here, I promise. This is a bad situation, but I'm sorry.
Cthulhu turns partially corporeal, now standing on 2 legs, and you see a scaled 3-fingered arm extending towards Barbara, who's leaning her head back, trying to avoid the touch. Then she looks at you, screaming, "Do you really think it is a good idea for her to enter my mind? She'll melt my brain!"
I respond, consider where we are and what's going on. Prioritize.
Just
right
the
now.
power she has will melt my brain.
Looks at Cthulhu. Is that true?
It is a possibility.
You do that, and everything in there is destroyed.
I raise my hand. Would it be preferable if I do it and I show and what's going on?
In that case, I could show you what's going on. I've already been in there.
He basically goes, I won't fry her brain, but I can expand what I see and telepathically communicate it with the both of you if necessary. If we damage what's in there, we might lose any knowledge within. And I'm sure we're all curious as to what's going on in there.
As you two are talking,
I'm talking to Cthulhu personally.
But as you two are talking to Cthulhu, she has turned her head towards you two.
Mm-hmm.
And you, Midnight, see one of Barbara's claws grow pretty big. Almost as long as her forelimb.
Okay. Do I say anything? Do I not?
It's your decision.
Do you really want to be known as someone who... someone who destroys worlds? Admittedly, you eat everyone, but... I haven't told them exactly what's going on, but please, just... Sure, she doesn't need to hate you.
She cocks her head at you as her claw cuts through her first chain like butter and quickly disposes of the other 3 as well, dropping her on her paws. Cthulhu is not amused.
Think about what you're doing, Barbara. Please, think about this. Do I have to roll a persuasion for this?
No, you will not. Mid backs up 2 steps, so she's out of arm's reach of Cthulhu.
Towards us or away from us?
Away from you. So that she's out of arm's reach of Cthulhu.
Gotcha.
Then lays her ears back, looks at the 2 of you, flicks her eyes back to Cthulhu, then back at you, back at Cthulhu. And you get the distinct feeling that she's trying to find a way to get out of there alive.
Midnight sighs. Cthulhu, no matter what we do, no matter what, you still will forever hold your view, right?
And before Cthulhu can answer, Mid's eyes start glowing a beautiful shade of blue. And the same light also emits from her muzzle and nose.
Midnight blinks. Okay.
And when she speaks, it is in a voice that is not hers. And she speaks in a language that neither of you understand. However, it seems to make Cthulhu recoil.
Looks between Mid and Cthulhu.
I look to Midnight.
I think I know what that was, but I'm not 100% certain.
Cthulhu looks very, 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 very confused and shocked. And she is momentarily frozen in place. The light disappears from Mid's eyes and muzzle and nose as she makes a run for it.
Can she teleport away?
No.
Who makes a run for it?
Mid.
Mid. Not me.
Mid.
So she's
I was just about
basically...
to say Cthulhu's running. I just, for a second, I blacked out or something. Huh.
Am I right in thinking she can't get out of the here right now? She's got 2 less power?
She can get out. She knows her way around the council chambers way better than you.
True.
And you see her disappear into the darkness.
Looks at Garius and looks at Cthulhu. I don't know whether we should
I
leave
look
or
back
not.
to Cthulhu.
Cthulhu is just stammering.
Are you okay, Cthulhu?
She does not respond.
I think for now we should leave her with her thoughts.
Agreed.
Maybe she needs some time alone.
Looks at Solar Flare, because he's been standing there for ages.
He's not there.
He's not there?
Mm-mm.
Solar flare?
Slight bow to Cthulhu. We shall respectfully take our leave, unless you have more of us.
The only response that you get is that she turns into black mist and disappears. With a wailing sound that sounds like the howl of a banshee.
I'm sorry, Cthulhu. Midnight looks around him when not seeing solar flare, and is like, I guess we gotta use this thing now.
Solar flare?
In the place where he stood, you see a few blonde hairs of his mane and a few blood splatters.
I think someone... think Mid took care of him.
I'm not going to say he'll be missed. Shall we use the coin?
Yeah.
Mid, if you're still around, you're more than welcome to use this portal.
Yeah. And
So-
I'm sorry. If you're still here, I'm sorry. We were scared. I was scared. It was the only thing I could think of to do.
And since you're alive and so are we, I think we made the correct decision.
Midnight shrugs. And
Thanks to you. Can we use the coin now?
sure, how do we do this?
None of
Place it on
you
the
actually
ground,
asked.
Channel magic. Jump up
Flips
and
it?
down on it.
Flips it?
So you do flip it in the air?
Flips it in the air.
Do you catch it or do you let it drop?
I'll catch it.
No, I'll catch it. It's my dimension we need to go to, not yours.
Good.
I catch
I
it.
don't. I catch it. No, I catch it.
As you catch it, it emits a beam of light from the front, projecting a portal to your bedroom.
Come on. Walks through?
You step onto
Inviting
your bed.
Darius into your bedroom. Script will be jealous. You're inviting Darius into your bedroom.
Oh, shush. So, we both go in, I assume.
Mm-hmm.
I do, yeah.
You both are standing on your bed.
I get off the bed with all due haste, making sure not to fall over.
Midnight just stays sitting on her bed, curled up a bit.
Are you okay?
I don't know. I'm not exactly sure if we did good or did bad. I mean...
We're alive, which exceeds my expectations for this meeting. And Mid, as you call her now, is alive, which exceeds my expectations from the moment I saw her. And no one died, which means today was a statistical success.
And
Did very, very well.
from under the bed, you hear sniffling.
I look under the bed.
Looks under the bed too.
And there is Mid, looking worse for wear.
I
Pulls her out and hugs her.
I don't think you should pull her. I was actually leaning down and I'm like, come over here. Don't worry, you're safe.
Okay.
I won't let anything happen to you.
She just glares at you.
You're angry at us. You think we betrayed you.
Can you blame me?
No.
How did
Not
I
at all.
betray you, if I might ask?
She looks at you. She would have killed me. I got myself out of there.
We didn't... She was going to kill you anyway. The only way I could see is if she was clearly hurting from her world, and I knew that you had some of her people in your own, that pocket dimension. But of course you made me promise not to say anything to anyone, so I had to hint at it. If I'd known if her putting her claw on you would have fried your brain, I would have told her not to do that.
And I was unaware of any of this. I'm not as informed as I would like to be. Look at both Mid and Midnight, giving him a look that says, one day we're going to have a chat and you're going to tell me everything, kind of look.
Sorry, guys. Then, like I said, she made me promise not to. Her.
I motion her over to me and I kind of sit open-legged.
She does not
betray you.
She does not come out. Her fur is pretty disheveled.
Can I cast a healing spell?
No, she would refuse your healing spell.
I'm sorry. I just didn't want her to hurt you anymore.
And
I admit to the same.
She looks at you, Midnight.
Mm-hmm.
With a sad look in her eyes, saying, and that is the reason why I can't have friends.
Because they protect you?
I came to help you in that other dimension, and that got me found. It is better if we part ways here.
No, I need you. Please.
I disagree as well.
And
can I roll a persuasion?
She's sorry, but she's dead set. I mean, you can roll persuasion, and I'll roll against it.
Okay. Mid, can I just ask you one thing? Maybe say one thing before you go. 15 plus 13. So,
she will listen to you.
Look, what happened was terrible. And what you went through was beyond anything I wish for you. Okay? I understand that keeping friends is difficult and does lead to danger. That I completely agree with you. But as history proves, standing alone is just as dangerous, because while helping people you expose yourself to risk. Being on your own is a constant risk where no one can help you. I want to help you. By all means, keep your distance, but if you ever need me, I will be here for you. Even if you go, even if you leave us and never intend to come back, know that my ship will always be open to you. Understand that.
Midnight.
She kind of gives you a little half smile, but then looks at Midnight again.
I know you may not want me as a friend. And I understand I got you. But what can I say? You've grown on me.
And she looks at you and says, you have seen what is in my mind. Do you know what I lost today?
So many.
5.
5?
5 worlds.
I don't know if this means anything to you, but the deal is still on. I am willing to help you, if needs be. As far as I'm concerned, the deal is still on. You've helped us more than enough, so your part of the deal, I'm willing to say, has already been completed. But when the time comes, know that I will hold to my word.
And if I
no
ever
matter
become...
what you choose today.
And if I become the Overmother at any point, I will do what you want. The Fifth's fate will be rewritten.
She just nods at you and then kind of fades.
And you're still my friend.
She's gone.
Darius just looks very grim, and it's like... If he wasn't conflicted before, he is now.
Midnight
Yeah.
doesn't look at Garius, but asks, I think we should return to our own duties. I think you have a few things you need to do on your ship, and I have a few requisition forms to figure out.
I stand up and I look over to you. Should you ever require my assistance, if you ever wish to talk, or if you ever need me for any reason, I expect you to keep that phone I gave you, and perhaps use it.
Understood. I'll see you later, Garius.
I shall see you later. And with that, I walk out.
And I think with this
I
we
actually have a question, because the mansion was buried under rubble. I don't know if it's been repaired, so I don't actually know what I'm walking out into. Except...
You're on my ship.
Ah, okay.
You're on the
I'll get a
ULE
dropship.
Midnight.
Ah, yes, the 30-kilometer long dreadnought, yes. I mean, yeah.
Anyhow, I think we should also end the RP here.
Agreed.
I hope you all enjoyed it.
I certainly did.
Yeah.
My
And
diplomat character was very silent during this one, and I'm like, wow.
don't
It's
forget,
getting more and more capable.
don't forget that there is a Teespring store, link in the description.
There is much stuffies.
Yes. See you guys next time.